Hello, I'm Jeff Paur, Senior Writer at RealTime Fantasy Sports. Welcome to the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show. I'm joined by my son on today's show, Henry Paur. Henry, thanks so much for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So we are going to do one of our continuing previews for the fantasy baseball season. We're up to the outfield position. So Henry and I are going to preview the outfield position for the coming season. We're going to give you a couple targets, couple fades, a breakout candidate, and a rookie we like as well for the coming year. So Henry, this outfield position's pretty deep. There's a lot of good options out there, though. I think it's a position you might be able to wait on a little bit, but it's also one where if you want the elite guys, you got to act early.
Yeah, this is definitely that type of position because if you think about it, every team has to start 3. So there's always going to be a lot of outfield prospects that you can pick from. So this position is by far the deepest in fantasy baseball.
Yeah, and in some leagues, they start 5 outfielders. So it's even more crucial to maybe get at least one of those elite guys on your roster. So I'm probably going to act early on at least trying to get an anchor one for my roster. But for the rest of the position, I'm okay with waiting a little bit, but I have some targets I like that go after the first few rounds as well. So we'll get into that right now. And as always, if you want to play in any of these games here at RealTime Fantasy Sports, go to rtsports.com, click on that Money League link. You can see all the different games we have to offer on there, all sorts of different options, different price points, different contests, roto points, best ball, you name it, we offer it. Also, we have big contests. Our RealTime Fantasy Sports Best Ball Championship is still open. You can still sign up for that, chance to win $10,000 there. So get into these contests sooner than later because the season is about to start. All right, Henry, let's talk about the outfield position. Let's talk about some targets, some guys we like, we want on our roster. So I'll let you give you your first guy, and then I'll give you somebody I like.
Yeah, my first one, I got Fernando Tatis. He had a solid year last year to come back after a suspension. But I think this next year, he's going to have a huge year. He missed half of 2022, then he missed the beginning of 2023. So I still think he's getting back into the baseball. And he still hit 257 with 25 home runs and 78 RBIs last year. So those are still really solid numbers. I expect to see his stolen bases tick up this year. And all those other numbers will just keep rising as he gets more into the season.
I agree. I think he's going to have a big season as well. I feel like his draft stock has gone up as it's gotten closer to the season as well, because I think a lot of people kind of feel the same way. I'll give you a player a little deeper dive that's not going quite that early, and that's Teoscar Hernandez with the Dodgers. So his ADP is 106 right now. He kind of had a disappointing season last year at the Mariners. He's still, though, even with that said, he had 26 home runs and 93 RBIs. I'll take that all day for a disappointing season. And now he moves out of the pitcher-friendly confines of Seattle to a much better hitter's ballpark in LA for the Dodgers, in the midst of a great lineup as well. Mariners had a good lineup last year, but this is even better. I think he has less pressure. I just think his numbers are going to climb. He can hit 30-plus home runs this year, get his average up a little bit. He's having a great spring, too. He's hitting 414 right now. So I think that is a good sign for Hernandez. I just like him as a big-time bounce-back candidate and to put up big numbers in his first season in L.A. All right, Henry, give me one more target at this outfield position.
I got Michael Harris. I mean, last year after he came back from his injury to start the year, he was phenomenal. He hit close to 300 and had a great season. And now this year so far in spring training, he's hitting for a lot more power. Usually we've only seen him as an 18 to 20 home run guy. This year, I believe he already has 3 to 4 in spring training. I could see him having a lot more this year, hitting for more power. And he's already going to have that starting field position locked up in Atlanta. I could just see him doing a lot more this year, being also another full season after last year he missed a good amount of the first half of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Harris is an exciting player. He can help in all 5 categories too. So he's a really good player in those aspects in those roto leagues. And my guy's the same way in my last target, and that's Nolan Jones. His ADP is 46, so he's really moving up draft boards, but you can still get him in like the end of the 3rd, 4th round, or in the 5th round, even in some leagues. And I think that's just great value. He didn't even play a full season last year. Had 20 home runs, 62 RBIs, 20 stolen bases, and a 297 average. So he's helping across the board in all categories. He plays in Colorado. I just love his ceiling. I think he's going to have a monster year, and he's one of the guys I want on as many rosters as possible. I just think he's going to fill the stat sheet up. So I love Nolan Jones this year. All right, Henry, let's talk about the opposite end of things. We're going to each give 2 fades, players we don't like the outfield position, we really don't want on our roster. So I'll let you go first. Give me one of your fades.
So I know the upside is going to be here with this first pick, but I'm going to say Aaron Judge. He's been injured a lot recently. He's already injured to start this year already. He's already day-to-day with an abdomen injury. And now last year he didn't play a full season either since his 62 home run season. But it just worries me with how much injury there is. He can get injured very easily. He's a big guy. He's playing the outfield. He's going to have to do a lot of running. I mean, it does worry me about his health. But the upside is there, but I just don't know if it's worth it with how much injury and where you're going to take him in drafts.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely risk-reward pick. Plays a full season. He can be as good as any fantasy player in the game, but he has not played a full season often. So I can understand your trepidation with Judge. My fade is another guy who's kind of injury-prone, although he's been better of late, and that's Christian Yelich. His ADP 71. He had 278 last year, so that was a really good season for him, but he had 252 or less 3 straight seasons before last season. And he had 28 home runs last year as well, which was way up than normal. He had more than 20 home runs. He has not had more than 20 home runs in a season since 2019. So his power numbers have been down. His average has been down, except for last season. So I think it's more of an outlier than the norm for him. And I just don't trust him at his age. He's 32. He's played a ton of baseball already in his young career. I don't think Milwaukee's going to be very good offensively. They're going to count on him a lot to carry that lineup. So at his ADP of 71, I'm just steering clear of Yelich. I don't think he's that MVP type player he was several years ago. All right, Henry, give me one more fade for the outfield position.
I got another player like this, and I got George Springer. He started to regress since he's joined Toronto's roster. And last season was his first season since 2016, over 600 ABs. So he basically played almost a full season last year, had a lot of ABs. But he's only had 2 seasons over 550 ABs. That's saying that he's not staying healthy a lot in his career. So I'd be worried this year after he had a fully healthy season, which is optimistic, but I could see him regressing this year with some injuries that hold him back a little bit.
So my last guy kind of fits the same mold as well as the other guys we've kind of mentioned. It's Mike Trout. His ADP is 56, so he is falling. He used to be a surefire first-round pick, so people are scared of him. I still think he's going to have some big weeks, but I just think he's going to be up and down. Angels are just a mess. Ohtani's gone. That lineup's not very good. Trout hit a career worst 263 last season. It was his worst total since his rookie year when he didn't play a whole lot. I know the value seems good with Trout, but with his current ADP and track record of late and his steep drop in production last season, it's a big concern for me. I think it's a big red flag. Again, I think he could do well at times. I just don't trust him at this point. I'm letting somebody else take Mike Trout. If he rebounds and he ends up surprising me, good for those owners, but I'm just not taking the risk. All right, Henry, let's talk about a breakout now. Somebody we think at this position, the outfield spot, we think is going to, have that huge season, take their game to a new level.
Now, I got a guy who should have a huge season this year because we're going to get a full season out of him finally. And I got Riley Green. Super young prospect. He was rated top 5 in baseball before he was called up. Last year, he only had 350 ABs and still at 288 with 11 home runs and 37 RBIs. This year, in a full season with a lot of ABs, I could see him putting up monster numbers. He's fast, he'll steal your bases. He's a great outfield prospect. I think he can have a huge year this year.
I got a guy kind of similar, and it's Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's where we're from, as you can see with your St. Louis gear and the arch behind me. But both you and I both love this guy. He's just a tremendous talent. His ADP is 115, so it's not super high. He's not within the top 100, but he just got his feet wet last year. He still hit 276, 16 home runs, 7 stolen bases. So this is a guy that could hit near 300, hit close to 30 home runs, steal 20-plus bases, driving a bunch of runs. I mean, that's exciting talent. He's just 21 years old, too. He got his feet wet last year. I think things are going to trend up for him this year. I know he's not having a great spring, but I'm not too worried about that. This guy's got a great swing, a great demeanor. I think he's going to have a huge year, too, in St. Louis. All right, Henry, let's give everybody a rookie we like this year. There are some options this year at the outfield spot. I think there's several guys you can look at. Who's a rookie that you're keeping your eye on that you like?
So this guy last year only had about 60 ABs, didn't do a lot with him, but he's starting to spring out strong, and that's Colton Cower. He was a huge addition to this Orioles roster so far. He hasn't been the best in regular season, but in spring training so far, he's hitting 423 of 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, and a 1.430 OPS. He's putting up huge numbers right now. He's a big left-handed bat. I expect him to translate this over to the regular season this year and expect in a full season from him have great numbers and really produce for this young Baltimore team.
Orioles got some exciting young talent. Holy cow. We had in our shortstop preview, we said Holiday was our favorite rookie, Logan Glasser and I. So they got another rookie that hits the outfield one. So that's quite an exciting group of young talent there in Baltimore. They could be really good. So my rookie is a guy with Texas, and that's Wyatt Langford. His ADP is 134, so it's been steadily climbing. Last year was his first year in professional baseball, but he moved across 4 different teams in the minors, hit 360. He was the 4th overall pick in the draft, and he had 10 home runs and 12 stolen bases in his quick ascent in the minors. And this spring, he's hitting 375 with 4 home runs, making a strong case to open the season on the Texas Rangers roster. And if he does that, he's going to be starting. And even if he doesn't make the opening day roster, I think he's quickly going to be on this team and producing for the Rangers. They almost called him up last year to be a big production guy in the playoffs. They didn't do that. They kind of sat tight with him, but I expect him to play a big factor this year. Even if he doesn't open the season in the majors, I still think Langford's going to end up being a good fantasy player in the end. So another exciting young outfielder. All right, Henry, thanks so much for joining me on the RealTime Fantasy Sports Show today. Really appreciate it. It's always good talking with you.
Yeah, no problem. It's always fun.
All right. Thanks to everybody for watching out there. We still have starting pitchers and relief pitchers to preview. And as always, go to rtsports.com, click on that Money League link. You can see all the different offerings we have on there for your fantasy baseball needs this year. This has been Jeff Paur with RealTime Fantasy Sports. Have a great day.